Hey, I want to welcome everybody to Breakthrough Walls. I am Ken Walls. I really appreciate you coming in and your support. Listen, I have got just a phenomenal guest today. I love this woman. She's like a sister to me. I've known her for several years now, I reckon. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been a few years at least. And we met via Periscope, and we've just become good friends. I met her in person at the first 10X Growth Con, and she's just a fabulous, fabulous woman. So without any more from me, I would like to welcome Lisa Marie Kennedy to the show. Hey, Lisa, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, thank you for being here. Like I got to open up my phone so I can see notifications. Hopefully I have my volume down. I do. Good. So we have some awesome people already in here sharing. Dan Kelleher, Susan Day, Jeff Sims, Mike Scott, Sandy McNichol. We have a lot of great people. My apologies if I don't respond to your comments right away, but this is also going up on my television network at Binge TV. So I want to make sure to keep on track here with the beautiful Lisa Marie Kennedy. So Lisa, how are you?
I'm good. I just wanted to say hello to everybody. We got all kinds of winners on today.
We do.
Hey, Jeff. Hey, Sandy.
Laura Peterson just popped in. So, so tell me, where are you living these days?
Yeah, so I still live in Lakewood Ranch. It's a master plan community here in Sarasota. I've been here 10 years. That's where I live, work, and play. That's sort of our mantra here, and I wouldn't live anywhere else.
I secretly hated you all winter.
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't. I kept, huh?
You knew you always have a place to visit.
I know, right? So I watch your Snapchat stories and your Instagram and all, and I see this all the time, and I'm like, oh my God. So but I have a daughter here in Ohio, so we're stuck in the winter here for a while at least. But so listen, this is a show. It's called Breakthrough Walls, and my beautiful wife came up with the name. And who just joined us, by the way. She's on here. So
hi, Jeff.
So she came up with this name, and it's a what's she call it, a alliteration or something like that on the last name Walls. So
she's behind a lot of those.
She really is. She's way smarter than I am. Matter of fact, she spent quite a bit of time down there in your neck of the woods recently. She ran all the marketing for the Florida State Fair, and they flew her down there, and she spent 12 days or something like that down. Way too long to be away. Yeah. but anyway, so. It's a show to help people have a breakthrough. And I keep, I'm having guests on the show who I know have been through the shit, so to speak, and came out on top. And I know you well enough to know that you've been through some of what I just said. So Dan Kelleher said she got a break from you.
Nice, I saw that.
Nice, Dan. So
I had lunch with Dan a couple weeks ago.
Dan's awesome. I love Dan. So so tell me, let's start with where were you born and raised?
So I was born and raised in South Portland, Maine. Excuse me. Population probably.
Where was it?
South Portland, Maine.
Maine.
Yeah.
Wow.
Born and raised. Yeah. You think I don't know cold? I know cold.
You know cold. Wow. And lobsters.
Yeah. And lobsters. Great food. I had a really great upbringing. It's a population probably 20,000. And, during those days, I was born in 1969, the 70s. My mom was a huge Elvis fan, so I was named after Lisa Marie Presley. It's story. Yeah, and that's why my husband and I got married by Elvis a couple of years ago.
Oh wow. My brother's named after Elvis.
He is?
His middle name, yes, Aaron.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't think I've ever met your brother.
No, you haven't. No, he's a lot taller than me. He's like 6'6" almost. He's 6'5.5" or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, hurts my neck to talk to him.
Yeah, so I had a great upbringing, but I knew ever since the beginning, since I was a teenager, that I wanted to be in a bigger, more exciting place with more opportunities. So I left right when I turned 21 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I moved to Florida with my rock and roll boyfriend at the time.
Yeah.
$550 in my little red Ford Tempo, and I moved to Orlando.
Wow.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you work at Disney?
No, I did not. I was a hairstylist in my past life. I don't know if we've ever talked about that.
Oh my God, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so straight out of high school, I had a dream that I wanted to be a hairstylist and be the hairstylist to the stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I did, and I picked up and I moved, and I worked in a salon in Orlando at a mall that's no longer there anymore. And I did hair for a little while, and then I started waitressing and realized I made more in one night than I made the whole week doing hair. So I waited tables, I bartended, and then I moved to Atlanta shortly after that. I had a girlfriend at the time that lived in Atlanta, and she's like, come move to Atlanta. And of course, 21, 22 years old. Sure.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I lived in Atlanta in my early 20s as well.
I know, and we've talked about this briefly.
Yeah.
Marietta?
I lived in Kennesaw, but yeah.
But wasn't your shop in Marietta?
Yep, I had a business in Marietta. Yep.
Okay.
Right
yeah.
at the end of Dobbins Runway.
Yep, okay.
41. Yeah.
And I lived off Windy Hill Road.
That was like right around the corner from my retail shop. Holy crap.
And I also waited tables at Boomers.
You remember the Big Chicken?
Oh, of course. Well, I know we're probably getting ahead of ourselves, but that's where I went to college.
Yeah, so, let's back up a little bit. So let's talk about, and I love bringing this up on every interview because I love hearing the different perspectives.
Mm-hmm. So
when you were a child growing up, you said you had an awesome upbringing, and so there's always something. It seems there's always something. Sorry, there's a cough going around our house, and last night I woke up about 4 times, heck, and I'm like, geez.
Sorry.
So there's always some sort of an influence that causes, that kind of directs what we become or do, or influences what we become or do as adults. And I'm kind of curious if there's any particular person or thing that happened that sort of influenced what you ended up becoming as an adult.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the catalyst of what I have become or am becoming, but my parents got divorced when I was 16. So I had to make a choice. Do I live with my dad or do I live with my mom? And of course, I chose to live with my mom because I was closer to her. And my dad is no longer here, but he had a lot of animosity because I didn't choose to live with him at the time. But we didn't have the greatest relationship growing up. God bless him. But as we got older, it was a little bit of a rocky road, and it wasn't until children that we got. Good morning, Nick.
Oh, I lost the audio with you there a little. Are you still there?
Yeah,
okay.
I could hear it on your end.
Okay. So your parents divorced when you were 16, mm-hmm. and that influenced your what you became as an adult?
Yeah, well, I think it was sort of the first catalyst for me because I was an only child. I have no siblings, and I just wanted to get the hell out of Dodge. So I think from the time I was 16 till I turned 21, where I thought I could go on my own.
Yeah.
that's just remove myself from the whole situation. So that was part of it, but it's also that inner, risk taker that, some of us are equipped with, right?
Right.
So no risk, no reward. And I think that I knew that at an early age.
Yeah. So, at 21, 22, somewhere in there, you ended up in Atlanta, and you went to school there.
I did. Well, I didn't make very good choices when I lived in Orlando, so I lived there for a short time. I was like, I'm going to go to Orlando and go to school, and all I did was party and made really bad choices and picked really bad boyfriends. So, but that's part of my story, though, right?
Right. Yeah.
So when I moved to Atlanta, I kind of got my act together, and I got my undergraduate degree, my 2-year degree, and then I was so infatuated with nutrition that I was like, Life, as you probably know, Life University, the chiropractic school, also offers an amazing nutrition program. Yeah. So I was really into working out, really into, eating right. And, it was one of those things where you could finish your bachelor's simultaneously if you entered into the chiropractic program. And I had a boyfriend at the time. I always had a boyfriend. But I had a really smart boyfriend at the time, and he's like, you might as well just keep going. And by this time, I'm like 24 and still in college. You might as well just keep going and get your chiropractic degree. So I was like, okay, still not really finding my way. And and then I realized that all the time flew by, and I'm graduating, and I'm like, shit, I don't really want to do this. Like, I realized that in my clinical,
oh, God.
Yeah, that I really didn't want to be a chiropractor. Wow. And, that sort of was like, ugh, what have I done? Because that was 2001. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Because at the time, you're like, oh my gosh, my life is over. I made a wrong decision. But it wasn't a wrong decision now looking back. Right. Because, the next phase of my life, I would end up working for an orthopedic splinting device company, and then selling capital equipment for the veterinary market. So all that education truly helped in my professional career.
Right. So you're good at cracking backs.
Well, I used to be. I don't do it anymore.
Oh, you don't? I couldn't imagine being a chiropractor. I couldn't do it. So you were in Atlanta. You went to Life Chiropractic School right there in Marietta. I actually had a couple of the students from Life Chiropractic that worked for me at my detail shop. Yeah.
Yeah, well, obviously it's not cheap to go to school there.
No.
Some other income.
They work there cleaning cars. I don't remember you ever coming in for an interview. But anyway.
No, I had a really good job. Like I said, I was making really good money waiting tables. I bought my first house at the age of 25.
Wow. And, in Georgia?
Yeah, in Ackworth.
Ackworth, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Right up the road from Kennesaw.
Hi, David Cribbs. Hey, Terrence Freeman.
David Cribbs. Gosh, we have got some amazing people. Terrence Freeman, Jeff Sims. I mean, amazing people on here. So you bought your first house at 25. You're in Atlanta. What happened next?
Oh gosh, more bad choices.
Let me guess. Had to do with a boyfriend.
Yeah. So, I had this best friend for 10 years, and then we ended up dating, and he was a bodybuilder. He was Mr. Atlanta for 3 years in a row. And I learned a lot from him, but it just became so codependent and so toxic that I just had to leave. I had to just pick up and go. And I think that was 2003. And then a year later, he died of a heart attack.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Wow. So that was super traumatizing because, like I said, we were friends for so long, and then we dated for a couple years, and it was one of those things. One of the hardest things I've ever done, to have to leave someone that you love. But I knew that I wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't accomplishing anything. Wow. Yeah. So then I moved back with my mom at the age of 33.
In Maine.
to Maine. Yes.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the lowest point of my life.
Yeah. I can
Yeah.
relate.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I was partying a lot, and that was part of the reason why I had to get away. But my life was like, I was so stuck. And at the time I hadn't discovered yet personal development. I think the first book that I read, it's around here somewhere. Oh, in college I read The 7 Habits, Stephen Covey.
Yeah.
And that sort of impacted me a little bit, but I wasn't around the right people.
Right.
At all. And I didn't know where to find them.
Right.
Stuck. I was so stuck. So again, I had to get out of Dodge. And sometimes it's not about exactly where you're going. It's where you're leaving.
Right.
And, as long as you leave that situation, then just, for something else. Yeah.
And in recovery, we called it a geographical cure.
Yeah, I like that.
I ran like that for years, many years. So I get it. I can totally relate to that. So so at some point though, you ended up you left Maine.
Yeah, I stayed there for about a year and a half, and it did a lot of soul searching. I did a lot of praying. I did a lot of writing, journaling. Like, who the hell am I at 33 years old, right? Because sometimes we think we're one person, and then when we get alone with ourselves, we realize, shit, this is not who I am.
Right.
I need to do things to become the person that I want to be. So eventually I was like, all right, I got to get my shit together. So I did end up interviewing for that orthopedic splinting device job. It was a medical sales job, entry level, $50,000 a year with bonuses. But again, I was living with my mom. So I was like, okay, I'm going in the right direction now.
Right.
And then
hold it. You were living with your mom and you were a chiropractor. You had a degree.
Yeah.
You had a chiropractic degree.
Yeah, but I knew in my heart that that's not what I wanted to do.
I get it. No.
Yeah.
But see, that's what I'm talking about. People need to know that it's okay to fall down. Like we all do. Like we fall down, right?
Oh, yeah, it sucked.
It does.
It especially because I'm 33 years old, and of course, I'm dating at the time because that's when Match.com first came out, and like the speed dating thing, and I'm like, yeah, I live with my mom. Like, who's gonna want to date me if I'm living with my mother? So I found like those kind of guys at the time.
You're like this dating resume is not looking sharp right now. So okay. So what happened? You spent a year and a half in Maine. Where'd you end up after that?
I ended up back in Florida. So when I was in Maine, there's a company called IDEX Laboratories. Their home base is in Maine, and I really wanted to work for them because they had a great history, and they're an animal medical diagnostic company. Mm-hmm. And I kept not interviewing. I kept applying, and nobody was answering my resume. So I was like, damn it, I'm just going to walk in the building and find out who the freaking person is that I need to go to. So that's exactly what I did. And I was like, I want to talk to so-and-so. And they're like, well, he's busy right now. I'm like, okay, I'll wait. And he hired me the next day.
I love it. Love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was great. And then I worked in inside sales for a little while with the intention of moving back to Florida. Like I had already had it planned out. So once a position opened, I think it was like, the Tallahassee position, I ended up moving to Destin, Florida, in the Panhandle. It's so beautiful there. And during my soul searching, I wrote down all the qualities that I wanted in a man, like if he ever came along. And sure enough, I met the father of my children. And that's where I ended up having both of my children in Fort Walton Beach Hospital.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy crap. That's like my favorite part of Florida, the Panhandle. The white sand, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So beautiful. And
I haven't been back lately, but I really want to take them there. They want to go there too, because, I'm like, it's Florida.
Well, yeah, but you're like, an hour or two away? Maybe?
No, not from Fort Walton, because you have to go all the way up the state and then cut over, so it's actually 7 hours.
Is it really?
Yeah, you can't by boat, you could probably make it there quicker.
Wow. Holy crap.
Yeah.
That is a hike. So, so you're back in Florida. You're in Fort Walton Beach area.
Yep.
And you met the man of your dreams.
I did. And then my life seemingly was perfect. I got a promotion and they said, we want to move you down closer to Tampa. So I was like, okay. And I literally just kind of looked at the map, looked at the territory, because I was killing it. I was killing it in sales then, because now we're talking 05, 04, 05, before the downturn of the market. Because, the downturn of the market in real estate affected every business, no matter what it was. I was calling on veterinarians and vet neurologists and, things like that, but it affected everyone in some way or another. So yeah, during that downturn, we sold our house there and bought our house here in 07. So, I bought my house at a really great price in 07.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and I haven't left since, but that was a great move and a great company to work for. But then, as you know, with corporate entities, things change.
Yeah.
And I guess, was it 6 years ago? Yeah, I had been with them for 10 years and I was kind of getting tired of it. I was a road warrior. I wasn't seeing my kids that much. They were little, 2 and 3. And, I got the quintessential, hey, we're reorganizing, and you can either apply for on the East Coast, or we have a severance package.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I was like, I looked at the number. I was like, okay, I'll take it, and that was a big turning point because. It allowed me, because I knew I was going to be able to stay home with my kids at that time.
Yeah.
But everyone in my world was like, okay, well, everyone else was panicking except me, because I knew I was going to be fine.
Right.
They're like, what are you going to do? And blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't know yet. I'm just going to take the summer off and spend it with my kids.
Right.
That's what I want to do. So that's what I did. And my Krav Maga instructor at the time was starting a real estate team. And he's like, do you want to get your real estate license? I'm like, sure.
Oh, jeez.
Sure.
And this is in what year? 2008?
No, because I was with IDEX for 10 years. This was just 2012.
Oh, wow. Okay.
2011, 2012, something like that. Yeah. I've had my license for 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was a great experience. I got my license. I ended up being on a team. I learned a lot from him. And then that relationship sort of crumbled and wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
Right.
And then I got the opportunity to work for the design build firm. And that's also sort of when I discovered Grant Cardone, all this personal development.
So this was what year? 2012?
Yeah.
13?
By that time, it was probably 2013.
Okay.
Yeah, and shortly after that, I remember the very first time I saw Grant on Periscope. Do you remember when he was trying to get the $1 million out of the bank?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you that?
Wasn't it 2 million?
Or maybe 2 million? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, who is this guy?
I know.
I was like starstruck. So I started following him. I was totally obsessed with him. And the first webinar I did was Millions on the Phone.
Yep.
It seems like so long ago.
I know.
So now we're like probably 2014?
14, yeah.
Maybe.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I just submerged myself in all of his stuff.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I can have it all. I can have like the best spiritual life and the best personal life and finances and career, and there's no shortage of anything. I want that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
People don't get that. They don't understand.
Yeah.
So you can have it all. So let before we go too far down the Grant hole, because we will revisit that.
Yeah.
But at some point, so it sounds like you're just a little bit younger than me.
I don't know.
I thought you were a lot younger than me, but I
I'm
was
40.
born in 1968. So,
Okay, for your part.
yeah. So I can't believe I'm going to be 50 in July. God.
It's like so cool.
I know it is but it's like crazy. Like I remember like thinking, God, that's old.
I know. But it's not,
I
with
know.
the knowledge that we have, it's not old at all.
50 is the new 20.
Yeah, okay. Or maybe the new 30.
30 maybe, yeah.
It's certainly not what it used to be.
I know. So at this point so far in your life, what would you say is the number one greatest life lesson that you've learned so far?
Wow.
Yeah, wow, that I've never had a response like that.
The greatest life lesson.
What's the number one thing that you feel like you've learned so far in life? And I know your life's not even halfway over yet, but what at this point, what's the greatest lesson you've learned?
To just be transparent and be myself, because there were so many times when I faked it and I failed. And especially now in the past few years, like if you try, it's more work to hide things than it is to just be yourself. And I think that's why, what you're doing with your show and, what happened with Periscope a few years back with the live broadcasting. There's so many people who still don't do it, right? Because they're afraid of exposing who they really are.
Yep.
And so that's probably the most recent and the most life-changing for me.
Is what?
Being completely transparent.
Yep.
And not having to fake it. I mean, because before all of this on Facebook and stuff, remember when Facebook first came out, we could just like post stuff. We couldn't even post pictures.
Yeah. I know.
And then it's quickly advanced in pictures and now video, and you have all these podcasts now, and and if you're not truly being authentic and being transparent, people can see right through that.
I totally agree with that. God, I love that answer. So, and I think back to, I went to as a kid, I was shipped off to a church on a church bus every Sunday, probably just to be like gotten out of the way. But it was a Pentecostal church, so you had to sit and dress everybody had to dress a certain way, and it was like, I couldn't even.
Was this you and your brother were shipped off, or just you?
No, it was me. It was me and my siblings. We were all kind of, just sent to church on a church bus every Sunday.
That is so interesting. So your parents didn't go with you, but it sounds like they wanted you to have some sort of foundation.
I don't know, but I just know that the way that it was then. Like today, I couldn't, I'm just me. Hey, if we're going to church, let's have a rock concert there, or can we get Motley Crue on stage? Or no, I'm kidding. So interesting though. I'm friends with Carrie Kasem, and she dated Nikki Sixx for years. And
I think I saw that somewhere.
Yeah, she's amazing. She was in my car. I drive a Ford Fusion. It has a turbo. But I drive. I mean, I pick her up at the airport in Las Vegas. Her and Lisa Caprelli, her business partner and friend, and I said, hey, sorry, we're not rolling in a Benz or something. We're just in this Ford Fusion. I'm not going to say exactly what she said, but she's like, what are you talking about? I drive a Prius, and I'm like, oh. She goes, this is exactly the car my boyfriend drives, in fact. This is a great car. And I go, oh, good. I feel a lot better. So, but, I think that people go through life, and I've been guilty of it. I'm a recovered alcoholic of 16 years sober now. And it's like, or not 16 yet. If I make it to August 10th, I'll have 16 years. So,
come on.
I know. But, what happens, I think, to people is they they stay stuck. And I've seen this in so many, like in AA meetings, I've seen it. I've seen, where it's like, you got 35 years sober and you're still like whining about your mom or so, like what? Like, come on. So like people, I believe, get stuck and they stay stuck and they don't know how to get unstuck. And you've, I'm sure, been there. It sounds like after having a chiropractic degree and living at mom and dad's at 30 years old or 33 years old. And I've been there. I moved in with my parents after being a millionaire. Like, I've been there. And living in their basement, I'm like, oh my God, my life is over.
I know, I felt the same.
I know. So what's the number one piece of advice? There's Jason Howland's in the house. I love Jason Howland.
Jason, he's the action closer.
He is the action closer. I've got his hat sitting right here. Right here.
Tap.
Take action today. So with what is the number one piece of advice you would give to anybody, gender neutral, don't care, man, woman, black, white, green, purple, I don't care, pink, I don't care what race, religion, what is the number one piece of advice you would give to someone who is stuck and feels like this is all life is meant to be, I'm stuck, I'm screwed, everybody hates me. Like, what's the number one piece of advice you would give to somebody to get unstuck besides follow you?
Yeah, oh, well, I don't know about that. You do that so good, Ken. Yeah, I'm stuck. For me, and I've seen it with so many other people, yourself included, but take freaking action and be consistent with it. Consistency is so huge. And I've failed at it many times myself, starting something and not finishing it. But when I've truly been focused and consistent in something, even if it takes a year freaking later, I see results. Yep. So, and it can be so boring and monotonous and like throw your pen up in there and just be like, like when am I going to see results? And then that's where most people have a hard time with, right? Because they're doing it. Yep. And then something happens in their life, maybe a trauma happens in their life, and then they stop doing it. Yep. But that is the time when you should put your foot on the gas, is when trauma happens, because that's how you overcome the trauma. So consistency, and I know it's a little bit cliche to say take action, but just show up and, just do something instead of, like you said, oh my gosh, my life is over, and what am I going to do? I mean, write it down, take action.
I mean, and Lisa, we've all been there, right? I mean, where you sit around and you I call it, you have a pity party. You're sitting on the pity potty, and you you're sitting around whining. Whine is a verb. So like you're sitting around and you're whining and you're complaining, not to necessarily to other people either, but you're complaining to yourself.
That's the worst.
It's the internal conversations that we have with ourselves, I think, that are the most paralyzing. And so I see people that'll go, I'm making a change, and it's starting today. I just watched Grant Cardone, and then I followed up with a Tony Robbins segment, and then I watched Lisa Marie Kennedy, and I'm on fire. And they start that day like, all right, I'm going to the gym, and they pull a muscle at the gym because they haven't worked out in 30 years. And then the next day they're like, oh God, I'm too sore, I can't do it. Everybody hates me. And then you fall into that trap, right?
Yes, you do. And I've had moments and times in my life where, I break down, start crying, and then I say, okay, I'm just going to let all these emotions out for 10 minutes and I'm going to be done with it.
Right.
Because I don't want it freaking coming back. So I'll scream in my pillow or cry or whatever it is. and, scream at the top of your lungs, whatever it is, because we're emotional human beings, right?
Right.
So my thought process is, let me just get this out now so it doesn't keep coming back. And a lot of times it's really been the catalyst to a lot of the successes I've had. I had a breakdown when I was writing my book. I was like, I can't do this. This sucks. This is too hard.
I looked everywhere for your book, by the way. I know it's here in my house some damn where, and I couldn't find it. I wanted to show everybody your book, and I can't find it.
That's okay, and I don't feel as bad now because I can't find yours either.
Well, I have mine.
See, here we go.
Yay! There. Love
but
it.
I think I know where yours is, though. Actually, I was just kidding. I was traveling, and I put it in one of my travel bags, and that's I actually finished it in the airport.
I think yours is on that bookshelf over there, but I'll find it. So anyway, the number one piece of advice is what? Let's reiterate that.
Well, you can't have consistency without taking action first, right? So I would just, decide to take action. And then once you do, you have to be consistent with it. And again, it can sometimes take a year. We had a brief conversation last week, you and I, when we chatted, and, just restarting my real estate business again last year, it's literally taken 14 or 15 months to kind of get to where I need to be, not where I want to be, but
right.
where I need to be. And, it's a lot of work that doesn't show any fruits of your labor for a long time with any startup business, not just real estate. You know that. Well,
with anything that's worth having. I mean, it's like anything. It doesn't matter what it is. You've got to take, like Tanya just said, decisions, actions, consistency, and you don't have to go out. Yes, 10x your life. I love the 10x rule. I love it's a mindset. It's a lifestyle, right?
Yes.
But if you haven't worked out in 30 years, don't go try to bench press, 500 pounds, 30 reps, and you'll kill yourself. I'm not saying go bench press 5 pounds, push yourself, but know your limit, and then make it so you can show up and do it again tomorrow, and then again, and then again, and then again, and again, and again, and again, and again. Right?
Yeah, and that brings up a good point. Sometimes there'll be things that you decide on that aren't necessarily the right one, right? I've done that before. I've done it, and I'm like, well, this really isn't working, and I know it's not working. It's not that I'm quitting, but you need to find something else.
Right.
And sometimes that can be a slippery slope because, somebody else might be successful in doing it, but then you start to do it and you're like, either you're not enjoying it or you're not kind of seeing results from it. And then you have to just adjust and adapt is what I call it.
Right. I totally agree with you. Totally agree. What's the, this is a 2-part question. What's the biggest mistake you've made in your life? That's number one. And then the second part of that question is, what is the biggest mistake you see other people making in life that's holding them back? So let's start with you first. What's the biggest mistake you've made? At least I'm not going to be like Grant Cardone and go, so what's your net worth?
Yeah, right. So the biggest mistake, I've made so many, I can't really decide. I think it was probably not taking more action when I was younger. I had so many opportunities in my 20s, and I met some really successful people in my 20s, but I was stuck in that relationship, and I thought, because of the codependency and because of just feeling like I couldn't go anywhere, I turned down a lot of opportunities. And one of them, I think the biggest one is traveling. I had a lot of opportunities to travel, and I turned those down because either he didn't like the idea or I didn't feel like I had enough money, and I didn't explore like people should when they're in their 20s, or, you know, all the millennials right now, like they have the biggest opportunity right now to just go get whatever it is that they want.
Right.
Because, you know, once you have children, your life is about your children.
Yep.
Or, in my opinion, it should be, because you're shaping them to be the greatest human being, you know, and contribute to society and the world and whatnot. So that, you know, if you don't have that, and you don't have children, and you don't have, you know, responsibilities like that, now is the greatest time to do that. And that's probably the biggest mistake.
Is not traveling and exploring?
Yeah, not doing that more, just kind of staying stuck. You know, I was stuck in Atlanta, and I had great experiences there, but I didn't take advantage of opportunities when I could have. That's probably it.
So you said no too much. You said no to the wrong or the right things and yes to the wrong things.
Yeah. Have you ever done that before?
Oh, no, not me. No. I'm going to polish my halo after this. So, of course, like, I think that for me, and I agree with you, I think that people need to increase the frequency of saying yes. Like,
right.
And fail fast. Like, if you're going to fail, do it fast. It's like Grant Cardone said. He said to me literally on a phone call, he said, Ken, my mom said to me one time, hey, Grant, when you're going through hell, stomp on the gas. Like, get through it fast. Like, go. So, you know, like, I think that, you know, people see something failing and they stay in it too long.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying that, you know, if it's right, it's going to require work, right?
Yeah.
But like, just get through it. Go.
Yes. And I've found that since, you know, I don't know when the turning point was, quite frankly, but, you know, the quicker I say yes and the quicker I make a decision, the better off I am, even if it wasn't the right decision at the time, because that's the biggest thing, right? And I think Mel Robbins talks about this a lot, is, you know, your procrastination will paralyze you. And then you're stuck in not deciding.
Yep.
So you have to decide, right, and say yes. And even though sometimes saying yes could sometimes mean, you know, being out of your comfort zone or whatever it is. And, you know, I've committed to things even sometimes that I couldn't even follow through with. But at least I said yes. And, you know, it's one of those things where it's okay, like you said, if you say yes, then at least you know the outcome.
Right.
If you say no, you never know the outcome.
That's right. People, I think, again, this is you know, I'm interviewing you. I don't want to interject all of my opinion, but I do think that people get paralyzed. Procrastination comes from fear.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and I think that paralyzes people. It just keeps them stuck.
Yeah, and I have a few people in my life that are huge procrastinators, and it's not one of the things that you can teach either. You kind of have to learn your lessons with it.
Yeah.
And as much as, you know, you want to just be like, just make a decision. Like, it drives me crazy. Like with like the maybe and we'll see and like, I don't know, like just say yes and, you know, figure it out later.
Right? That's so funny. So, like, and I don't know if you answered it. Maybe you did. What do you think? Is that what you think the number one thing is that people are screwing up?
Yes.
They're not deciding. What is it? Procrastination, not deciding.
Yeah, but I think there's a second step to that too, and I'm just, you know, referring to real estate specifically in general, because I get questions all the time, like, can I pick your brain about real estate? I'm thinking about getting my license. You know, that's great if you want to take action and go for it, but do you know, like, why are you getting into real estate?
Right.
And do you know what it takes? And most people don't know that it takes lead generation, lead follow-up, negotiating contracts, sales skills, cold calling. And they're like, huh?
Right.
You know, because when
you
I
don't just put your sign in the yard and people show up and give you money.
Yeah, or, you know, they like interior design, or they, you know, they think it would be fun and flexible. I'm like, no, those are all the wrong reasons. And, you know, I've become quite frank with people when they message me or ask me, or they're thinking about it, because the fact of the matter is that 87% never make over 40 grand a year.
Right.
Because they don't know what it takes.
I've heard that the average real estate agent sells one property a year. Is that right? One or something. I don't know what the average is, but it's low. I know that.
It's low, and I feel bad for these folks that are doing it. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of successful agents out there that are just killing it. But I don't know if that statistic is true. I do know that there's a super high failure rate and a high rate. It's either 80 or 87% of agents that don't renew their license in the second, third, and fourth year because they can't make ends meet.
Right.
That you don't learn anything in real estate school except for the legal stuff.
Right. Right.
You know, you don't learn how to cold call. You have to do all of that on your own.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, learn and invest in yourself as far as, you know, what that takes.
And do what you do. I mean, you go out to your models and you do live streams from them. You show people around. I've talked to so many people in a variety of different industries, real estate and physicians and chiropractors and you know, nurse practitioners and just every type of business. And I'm like, hey, you know what? If you want to increase your business, go live. They're like, what? Yes, go live on Facebook, on Periscope, on everything. Go live. Just go live and talk about, you know, and be authentic and be real and talk about whatever it is that you're, you know, and people just like, I can't do it. Okay.
It's paralyzing to them to think about doing that, right?
Oh, it's terrifying. I've said this a million times. The very first time I went live on Periscope, I remember exactly where I was standing in my conference room. I was nervous as a hooker in church. I was sweating. I was freaking out. I
think I saw you.
Oh, God.
I'm pretty sure I was there.
I think you were, but I was terrified. And my tongue felt bigger than my whole face. And I could, you know, but like, you've got to face those fears. Like, you've got to face them. You've got to freaking do the deal.
Jeff says, you guys are talking about me, aren't you?
No, you've got your phone over there. I see you doing that. I'm like, she must have a live studio audience or something.
No, and you know what? I thought about setting up my iPad and recording it on my Instagram live, but...
Oh, well, do it.
Well, I was going to, but then I didn't want to be late for you, so it's all good. It's all good, but no, I have my phone on a tripod over here.
Oh, I got you. So
he's laughing at your joke about the hooker in church.
Yeah, T-free. I love Terrence. So, like, you know, and that's the thing is we all kind of started there on Periscope, and then there was Meerkat, and then there was the what was the one way back in the day?
Blab.
Blab, yeah.
I loved Blab.
I loved it too. I said way back in the day. It was like 2 years ago.
I know.
But in internet, you know, in internet years, that's like a long time. So
yeah, it really is. And I'm glad you brought that up because, I mean, even before all of the live streaming and stuff, I think I built a really nice following when I was doing multi-level marketing 5 and 6 years ago because it's that like-minded tribe of people, right? So even before the live streaming, I had already built a really solid foundation of people that I wanted to surround myself with, whether it was online or in person or whatever it was. And then all this came along, and then we met some really awesome people because when you see them live, you feel like you know them. Right. Like even before you and I met, I'm like we totally know each other.
It's completely just like catching up with an old friend, isn't it?
It really, really is.
Yeah.
And just meeting everyone. Yeah, like Terrence says, that's how he hooked up with everyone. And, you know, and then half of us went to the conference.
Yeah.
So,
right.
And then a lot of people fell off, right?
Yep. A lot did. So let's back up a little bit and talk about your book. You wrote a book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Show everybody your book. I'm going to give you the whole screen here. Show everybody your book. Talk about it.
Okay, so my friend Abong Eka, I don't know if you're friends with him or not. He's like an accounting genius, right?
He's awesome.
We were chatting one day on Snapchat, and of course it was, you know, I've always wanted to write a book, and this was right around the time that I had a mentor and whatever, and she was like, you need to write a book, and I said, okay, because we don't write a book like with the intention of making money, right? We write a book with the intention of A, inspiring others, or B, being the authority in our marketplace. One of the two, right? That's what I believe.
Yep.
So I was talking to him one day and I want to write a book. He's like, that is so cool. I have to continue with this. That is so cool. You should name it like $1 Million Model or something like that, because he knew I was working out of like $1 million. Well, I sold it for 1.65, but I couldn't name the book Selling the $1.65 million Model.
You sold it for 1.65 million.
Yeah.
What's the commission on 1.65 million look like?
Well, when I was working for the builder, it was 2%.
God.
So that was 3 years ago.
Wow.
And now I actually have that home listed because I love, maybe they're watching, I love my sellers. So I have that home listed now for 1.65, exactly what it sold for. So
wow,
that's been on the market just a few weeks.
So the
book.
The book.
Yeah.
So you wrote the book because is it Ebong or Ebong?
It's Abong Eka.
Abong. I always say his name wrong. Maybe he unfriended me. I don't know.
No, he didn't.
He's awesome. He is really awesome.
He's a beast. So yeah, he was like, even through Snapchat, he was really like so motivating and just, you know, pouring into me. And I had my mentor at the time too, and you know, obviously I was listening to Grant, and because I worked out of the model, I had a lot of time not only to prospect but to decide like what was holding other agents back. And so that's why I put these different things in the chapter, just you know, sort of sequentially what steps to take. Like, sorry, I hear.
You're what?
I heard an echo. I didn't know if it was me or not.
No, I think my microphone's acting up a little bit.
No, that's okay. So yeah, you know, in the chapters like prepare, decide, commit, take action, get attention, create value, be non-conforming, and find the right people. That's pretty much the outline of the book. So I had to figure out what system would be, because the book really is geared towards to newer agents. Right. And I had a great time writing it, but I was kind of on a timeline. So looking back, and I'm sure you probably feel the same way about your book, you would have done some things differently. Yeah. But it has been a great catalyst for my business. Every listing presentation I go to, even though they're not an agent, I say, you know, I'd love for you to have a copy of my book, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. So it's like the $5 business card, right?
It is, yeah.
Because not many agents have written a book. And then just recently here, I bought the rights. So let's back up a bit. So there's different ways you can write a book. You can hire someone to help write it with you, right? You can write it yourself, publish it yourself with Amazon or whatever. Or you can buy the rights to some content, which is what I've done in my newest books, Secrets for Selling Homes Others Failed to Sell.
I didn't know you had a newest book.
Yeah, so these are more like little guides, okay?
When did this happen?
Well, it just happened.
Wow.
So it just happened, and the reason why I haven't, I'm making some revisions to it. So one is geared towards expired listings, and there's a system for that. The other one is how to avoid paying a real estate commission, right? So this is for your for sale by owners.
Wow.
So the guide by selling by owner. And then, because as you may or may not know, 90% of for sale by owners don't sell at all and end up hiring an agent anyway.
Right.
Then I got this one that I got to do some more research on and visit some attorney offices, how to sell your home in a divorce. Sadly, many folks have to deal with making that decision. So those 3 new guides that I have coming out, it's not super official because I want to make some. Yeah.
Your level of badassery just went up.
Thank you very much.
Wow, that's awesome. That is so awesome.
So I think there needs to be more of value, right? That's what we've been talking about for a few years now, like showing value first before you say, give me your listing. Like push them information that they want first.
Yes.
So they can learn to know, like, and trust you.
Yes.
So then you'll get the phone call, because that's what I learned in one of my mentorships. Like, you don't want to be hounding people. You want them to call you and be like, can you come over? I want to list the house.
That's it.
And slowly that's what's been happening. So I'm happy with it. So, but that's a piece of advice that I could have talked about earlier. Like, you got to give value first. God. Just like with this show, you have since the very beginning. And don't make your head so big that you can't fit through the door. But that's one of the greatest qualities you have, Ken, is giving value first without expecting anything in return.
Right.
Right?
I expect you to help me find a house for free. No, I don't.
I might do that.
Never. I would never ask for that. So, and I agree with you. There's so many, and we all have MLM is huge today because of social media, and I love that. But I think that so many freaking people, like, I know you get the instant messages, like, oh my God, like, I'm not doing freaking Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. I don't have the bandwidth for it. I'm sorry, and all the other stuff. I love the drive that these folks have, but they don't start with anything of value. There is one dude, and I forget his name, but he hit me up and he was a new friend on Facebook. He hit me up, said hi, and was just a nice guy. And then he asked about me and asked, so he found out that I wrote a book. He went and bought my book. Like, he literally showed me his Amazon receipt. He bought it. He said, looking forward to reading it. If there's ever anything I can do for you, let me know. And I'm like, well, what do you do? And right. He's like, oh, I do blah, blah, blah. And it was an MLM. But he didn't push it on me at all. And I said, dude, I told him, I said, you are the classiest MLMer I've ever met, I think. Like, he didn't just come, and I don't know if you know Claudia Steppen. She does Thrive, and I love her. And she doesn't push it. She does not push it. She's not all up in your face, and she's just and she's one of the top thrivers in the world. So, it's that. It's like, provide value first, give people, like, make people feel special first. Right?
Yeah.
And then, maybe if at some point down the road, like it may happen, but just provide more value.
Provide more value. Let them know that you can help them solve their problem.
Yes.
Because that's what it's really about, right?
Yes.
Solve the problem. Take Thrive, for example. Losing weight, wanting more energy, being more healthy, selling your home. What is the motivation? And we talk about this all the time in real estate, like, especially for sellers, is what is your motivation for selling? The motivation for selling has to be higher than the money that you put into it because it's overpriced, right?
Right.
So getting from point A to point B has to be more important than that. And And that's why homes sell, is because their motivation is so high. Like, I just had one seller wants to, move closer to her grandchildren. What higher motivation do you need than that?
Right.
See your grandchildren grow up. I'm going to help you sell your house.
Right.
And you continuously use that in the process, because that's what's driving them, right? Not using it against them.
Hey, there's a Bong Eka just joined. Oh my God, we were just talking about you.
I was saying how awesome you are.
He is amazing. So, hey, there's my nephew Dustin. So,
Uncle Ken.
with the gosh, this has been such an amazing interview, and I knew it would be. Would be. Let me ask you this, and we've got to wrap up. We're a little over an hour now.
Are we really?
Yeah, can you believe that? It went by like that. So you're amazing, and I just love you to pieces, and I know you know that. But what's next for you? I mean, if you called me, because I'm a branding expert. My wife is the queen of branding. Like, she knows branding like I've never seen anybody know branding. But if you called me and said, "What do you think I should do?" I'd be like, you got to brand yourself as the international or intergalactical queen of real estate. Like, you are the schnizzle. Like, you're it. Like, right. So, and so you've got, and it's like Grant says, you got to create that celebrity brand. You got to manufacture that celebrity. Abong, I was saying your name wrong. I said, oh God, maybe he unfriended me. I thought it was Ebong. Sorry. Lisa corrected me. She said it's Ebong. So, but, what's next for you?
Yeah, so just in the past few months, I've really, like, a lot of people don't know that not only do I sell homes and help people list and buy and whatnot, but I also invest. I want to do more investing, just because I feel like I have a little bit more control. I have an investment right now that kind of, I'm not going to say is going south, but things happen. So I have kind of my feelers out over there with a few different properties, some multifamily properties.
Yeah.
So I want to get more into that, but still be able to help the people that I care about, and people in my life and people in my neighborhood, because I do feel like I'm serving them in that way. So, but in the next couple of years, I want to do some more investing, but I want to be able to do both, right?
Yeah.
Not being so, and I believe you can do both. And a lot of people don't know that with your real estate license, it's not just about buying and selling real estate. It's investing, it's property management. It's, you can do a lot of things with your real estate license. So yeah, I don't know the exact details of what's next. I'm just really loving what I'm doing right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm just venturing out with the 3 new guides. So I want to see how that goes. And I just want to continue showing up every single day with people like you.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on.
Oh my God. Thank you for being here. Are you kidding me? I'm so honored. I really do appreciate you coming on. I know you're busy. I know that you've got a lot of balls in the air. So, and Abong just said, Lisa Kennedy, the luxury real estate expert in South Florida. I think that that has a nice ring to it.
Hey, Bong, I love you.
So, listen, I think that's a wrap. I really genuinely appreciate you being here. What is, before we go, I want you to give, you never know how you're going to impact somebody else. And you never know who's watching. And I had a guy come to me years ago when I was struggling. I was only, I don't know, a couple years or so sober, and I was literally considering flipping the F it switch and going back out, and this guy tells me this story that he had seen somebody tell their story, And long story short, he told me that I saved his life because he heard my story at an AA meeting, and I was like, what? How in the what? Like, it just didn't, so I was like, wow, you just never know the power of your words, the power of your presence, so you can have such an impact on other people's lives, and you don't even realize you're doing it. So before we go, I want one last thing for the person that might be watching this, maybe right now on the live, or they're watching the replay, or they're watching it on my new TV channel. What is the one piece of advice you would give to somebody struggling to hang on?
Yeah, they all sound so cliche, but again, I keep going back to consistency and just not quitting. And the other piece of that is just to find someone that is in a place where you want to be, even if it's just a small step towards it. Just find someone, because now we have so much access to everyone, right? Yeah. That guy reached out to you and, was compelled by your story.
Yeah.
So I would just, I'm here if someone, is serious about either getting into real estate, or they're living with their mom, or they feel stuck, or whatever. I'm certainly not a therapist, and I don't know it all, and I'm not even near being where I want to be. Trust me.
Right.
But, it's just reaching out to others and truly serving others, because once you start serving others, the universe will do the rest.
Amen.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
So be it. I love that. I love that. Love that. What'd you say?
I said, I love you, Ken Walls.
Lisa, I love you too. You're amazing. Thank you so much for being here, being on the show. This was one of the best interviews I've done so far. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
And thank you to everybody for being on here. Thank you. And Lisa, don't hang up yet, but I'm going to end the Facebook Live now. Thank you for everyone who's on here, all the comments, the likes, the love, and especially the shares. Thank you so much for all the shares. Appreciate y'all and love y'all. And we will see you guys very soon. Peace out.